Welcome back to the Thief Rogue Challenge, where I try to survive as a hardcore, self-found rogue that can only equip weapons and armor obtained from pickpocketing, lockboxes, and chests. Last time, we spent a lot of time in Redridge opening the same 3 chests over and over, finally got our first piece of gear that's actually decent, as well as a handful of pieces that were not so decent but still technically upgrades, finished up Westfall and Darkshore, did a bit of questing in Ashenvale, had a devastating learning experience involving some lost footage, made fun of warriors for a bit, and then ended on a terribly cruel cliffhanger right outside of Deadmines. But before we cover the dungeon, let's quickly take stock of everything we currently have equipped. First, we have a pair of patched leather shoulder pads with 52 armor, and on our back we have a Raider's Cloak of the Tiger with 15 armor, 2 agility, and 1 strength. For our chest piece, we have a patched leather jerkin with 70 armor, then a pair of patched leather bracers with 31, a pair of ragged leather gloves with 17, a warped leather belt with 35, a pair of cloth Sears pants with 29 armor, 5 spirit, and 3 stamina, and finally a pair of warped leather boots with 43 armor. As for our weapons, in our main hand we have an ornamental mace with a damage range of 10 to 19 and a speed of 2.8, and in our offhand we have a small dagger with a damage range of 5 to 10 and a speed of 1.4. So, deadmines. Now, you may be wondering why a thief rogue such as ourselves wants anything to do with a dungeon where we actually have to rely on other people to avoid dying, when we can't actually wear anything that drops there in the first place, and to that I say,
purple numbers.
And so, after meeting up with my group in Moonbrook, consisting of a level 19 priest, a level 21 warrior, as well as myself, a druid, and a warlock that were all level 23, the 5 of us made a quick stop by the one part of the Defias cave that's randomly filled with undead, grabbed Thistlenettle's badge, and then made our way into the dungeon. And even though we started with some pretty decently sized AoE pulls, I just wanted to take a quick second and point out that
we're still on top of the charts, so basically, I'm a professional, and
yeah, that didn't last long. Jokes aside, despite our terrible gear,
and the fact that I never cleansed Touch of Zanzil,
throughout the dungeon, we were still able to put out some respectable damage compared to that of our fellow group members. But you guys aren't here to see me brag about showing off in a low-level dungeon. No, you guys want to see some risk. So, let me tell you, this group was actually pretty solid, so there really wasn't a whole lot of that. So instead, let's just run through it really quickly and talk about all the gear that dropped that I had to pass on. The first boss, Roxor, just dropped this hammer that didn't actually proc a loot roll since it's only white rarity, but not long after, we do see our first green drop of the run from a regular mob. Some silk-threaded trousers with some agility, but as per the rules, we had to pass on them.
There was actually one green item before this, I just missed it when I wrote the script and didn't catch it till now.
But, despite what you might be thinking, I didn't actually leave this dungeon completely empty-handed, because once we got to the first goblin room, I actually managed to obtain the first useful item from pickpocketing, a boot knife. And that means we finally have access to a ranged pull. One singular ranged pull. Okay, we did actually get another one immediately after, so technically 2 ranged pulls, but, you know. As for Sneed, he ended up dropping the Taskmaster Axe, which no one really wanted, so that went to Greed Roll. After that, we then pickpocket our third and final boot knife, backtrack to kill the approaching patrol, pass on a mail chest piece, and then make our way into everyone's favorite room, the Goblin Foundry. Now, we definitely pulled a little more than we meant to here, which is kinda just a given in this room, but like I said, this group was pretty solid, so we were completely fine. I did manage to hit level 24 amidst the chaos, and soon after we took down Gilnid, who, as per usual, refused to drop the ring everyone seems to want, and instead dropped a pair of smelting pants. I then picked the lock on the door to avoid the instant combat from using the cannon, which unfortunately deprived the group from getting to hear Smite's classic line, and then passed on a very tempting Blackwater Cutlass and some not so tempting intellect gear. However, I do have to admit that the next roll was just too tempting to pass up.
because it was actually just a swiftness pot recipe, and that's not gear, so we're totally in the clear.
Also, I just want to point out that we only won that roll by 1 single point, so I don't know, I kind of just thought that was cool. Anyways, Smite dropped the Thief Blade, which was another sad pass for us, but also kind of just lame for the warrior because he was looking for the mace, but then we wrapped around the back of the boat to kill Cookie, and he also gave another one-hander instead of the one that the casters wanted. And then right after, there was an agility cloak and some mail pants that dropped from the regular mobs that no one wanted, so it was starting to seem like this dungeon was probably just going to be an XP run for everyone. We did run into one chest as we climbed up the boat, but as per the standard, we agreed to roll on it, and even though most of the group passed, unfortunately we lost the roll to the warrior, who only took a single shadow gem and left the rest of it, which was apparently just food and water. Now, it is possible that there may have been a gray item that he overlooked since he didn't really think it was worth anything. Since Past Me didn't actually look inside to verify, we'll just never know! As for the last few items, our last green drop was an engineering schematic that no one needed, then Greenskin dropped the Emberstone Staff, which no one needed, surprisingly, and then last but not least, we had Van Cleef, who dropped the Corsair Overshirt, which went to the healer. But But with that, Deadmines was now finished, with the only incomplete quest being the miner cards from outside. And while we're on the topic of quests, here's a clip of me picking the Staff of Westfall over the tunic, just because it sells for more.
Tell me. And remember, this is for posterity, so be honest. How do you feel?
But with the dungeon complete and all my quests turned in, I decided to log off for the night.
It's been over a year since I've played this character. I think the last time I did anything on them was October, and that was Deadmines. So now that I am no longer past me, who, set up current me with all those great learning experiences, we're just gonna jump into it. Right off the bat, I see that I still have the Touch of Zanzil debuff. That's great. I just completely didn't even know that this debuff reduces your stealth level and your agility until like way later, even though I have an add-on where I can just see the fact that something is getting rid of my agility. And I never bothered to wonder, why is this red? Oh, it's because of Touch of Zanzil. And guess what I have in my inventory? I have anti-venoms. And I just never used it. I still have the 3 boot knives that I got from Deadmines. So I have 3 ranged pulls before I just run out of these completely. Just for the sake of seeing, like, if I still know what I'm doing, I'm gonna try the redridge chest. Hopefully everything goes right. It would really suck if I just went through all of that time making the other episodes just to immediately die as soon as I pick it back up. I mean, that would, on one hand, that would be kind of funny, but on the other, that would be really embarrassing. Honestly, I don't even need to gouge them at this point, considering I'm level 24, but okay, wait, nope, let's wait for that patrol. We don't even need population. We're just gonna instantly take these things down. Oh, yeah, this is so easy. Oh, crap, we pulled Rib Chaser. Okay, well, there's this one. Let's pull him away before this. Oh, we should look at that. We got a mail thing we can't use, and a copy of our mace that we also can't use because it's from regular drop. First chest back. What do we get? Nothing good. Classic.
Oh, by the way, I know I said last episode that this little chest counter thing is going to track each chest rank separately, but since making everyone keep track of the totals for 4 and soon to be more separate ranks is kind of just confusing, whenever I open a chest, I'm just going to show the total number of chests across all ranks, and then I'll include some additional stats regarding all the different types of chests I've opened up to this point at the end of the video.
Oh, yeah, I'm an herbalist. I need to pick stuff up.
That reminds me, I've mentioned my professions once or twice in the previous episodes, but I suppose I haven't really put a whole lot of focus on them so far, so consider this a quick update on that. But just so we're all on the same page, the stolen restriction only applies to weapons and armor I equip in the character pane, so any materials collected through traditional means are still fair game. However, I cannot use those materials to craft any gear, since I want everything worn to be directly obtained through stealing. Because of that, there's really not much use for leatherworking, and enchanting has its own problems, so that just left engineering and alchemy, which actually tend to be the 2 most popular professions in hardcore anyways, and we ended up going with the latter. Now there's not really a whole lot to talk about for herbalism, but as for alchemy, there really hasn't been much change since we first picked up the profession, as we're still kind of just using it for buffs and a consistent source of good health potions. But I have noticed that the usefulness of the alchemy buffs has definitely increased a bit as mobs have grown stronger, though still not quite enough to completely justify picking alchemy over engineering. But remember, engineering is lame, and alchemy is cool. Also, if you're curious, here are all the buffs I'm using.
It's been so long since I've played a character and actually leveled professions, because normally I hate these things. Let's say I need bruiseweed, briarthorn, blackmouth oil. I don't have fishing, so I can't get that. I could always just, level fishing, but I don't want to. There's only 18 people online in Redridge. Oh, hey, look, it's a person. It's still real. People exist. One of the 18 people in Redridge, and it's right there. Across, how many layers do we have up? Just 1. Oh, okay, well then, yeah. If there's 18 people, I'll run into a few. There's another one.
But anyways, since we were successfully able to prove that we still at least kind of know what we're doing, we then set out to complete the Blackrock Menace quest, where we need to collect axes from some dangerous orcs that can both net you in place for 10 seconds, and enrage to drastically increase their damage. But in the end, these guys were all like 3 or 4 levels lower than us, so any threat they posed was actually pretty minimal as long as we didn't pull too many of them. But as we worked to collect their axes, we do finally manage to spot our first solid chest.
Solid chest? Wait. 21, 22. I have to try for it. Do I? I mean, if this priest pulls some of them, we can just see if they care about the chest. Oh, he's pulling them. I'm gonna take one. just to make things easier on her. What level is she? 22. I'm gonna go help her. She doesn't need it at all, but you know, just to be polite. Put the poison on the main hand. She did most of the work there, so we're just gonna let her have it. We didn't earn that one, so that's fine.
And even though we were beaten to the punch, I suppose this is as good a time as any to explain how solid chests fit into our chest ranking system. Now back in episode 1, we learned that Blizzard got a little bit lazy when it came to naming all the different types of chests, so that left us with 4 different containers that are all called batter chests, even though they all have completely different loot tables. But since the drops for each of the different versions seem to correspond to a different level range, I've just attached a rank from 1 to 4 to each of them, and I've been using those to make things a little bit easier. Now in that video, I did also say that I'd be ranking the other chest types in a similar fashion, but that was before I realized that a lot of the chest types are specific to certain dungeons and stuff like that, and that nearly all of the remaining open world chests just fall under the category of solid chests. So basically, we're just going to tack on all the solid chest variants to our existing ranking system, and as for the rest of the chest types, we're just going to call those specialty chests. But with all the pedantic clarifications out of the way, let's actually, play the game.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot I can be pickpocketing these guys. I didn't know these things could give you boot knives. Why is it not stacking with the others? I can totally equip this, can I? Sweet. Okay, it was just bugged. Okay, we don't care about exposed armor. I'm going to pick up rupture just because I want to test that. I do want crippling poison, and I definitely want detect traps. And now we're down to like 4.5 gold. We're gonna build in a failsafe so that we never lose footage again. And we're just gonna make a giant text aura, and then I'll just have to manually unload this anytime I want it to go away. But I'll also need to remember to turn it back on anytime I stop the recording, but that should be helpful.
But with all our preparations complete, that meant that it was finally time to venture into Duskwood, and after grabbing all the quests in Darkshire, except for the Stockades one and the one that requires a bronze tube, we then take a quick flight to Westfall and head over to Sven's camp to grab a few more quests. We then hit level 25 as we kill some wolves, put another point into opportunity to continue buffing Garrote, get rabies, take in some of the scenery, and then obtain our first rank 5 chest.
Solid
chest.
It's just sitting here. That's awesome. Wow. This might be the spot. I think this is the spot. It's just right here in the middle of nowhere. And the only thing around here is just level 20s. I guess there's these level 24s, but like we can kill any of them that come close. Holy crap. Forget opportunity. We are respecking for hit chance. Oh my gosh. Why can spiders parry? What are they parrying with? Their legs are like one single smack with this mace would cripple this thing for life. If not, just end it right off the bat. Like what? Solid chest number 2. Nothing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that these last 2 chests are probably also like this is one whole cluster. Why is this child running a business? We're gonna do a single check at the engineering supplies for a bronze tube because supposedly you can get one there. Oh, that's the wrong one. How are you? Ooh, thank you, Lars. Okay, we have to be hyper vigilant on this road for Stitches. I don't think he'll show up. There's only 10 people in Duskwood right now. But, it's certainly possible, so it's just something we gotta keep an eye out for. Oh!
A few moments later.
inventory is full.
Ooh! Classic. Well, I don't know what I expected. Wait! I've been wearing these gloves since Shadow Glen. These are from a rank 1 chest. That's crazy. We pick their pockets? I don't know. They got this stupid disease.
By the way, you thought we were done with clarifications. We're also at the point of the game where we're going to be getting a pretty solid amount of these junk boxes, but since we're actually pretty limited in what these things can give whenever they do decide to drop something, with the only upgrades being a very small amount of jewelry options that all have super low drop rates, I'm not really going to be tracking how many of these I open like how I do with chests and for any normal lockboxes that we might get, but I will definitely mention if we get anything cool from them. Now the higher level versions can actually drop some rogue specific reagents too, but we're not really there yet, so there's really not much to worry about since because, for the most part, these things really only drop money and occasionally a random junk item or a health potion. But anyways, once we get through a solid number of duskwood quests, we then hearth back to Aberdeen, make a quick stop in Darnassus because I forgot to respec while I was in Stormwind.
Be careful.
Great.
And then make our way into the Stonetalon Mountains.
I lost my first hardcore character right around this area. It was on the community server, so Bloodsoul Buccaneers, and I DC'd because my laptop just randomly crashed because I had a problem with the battery, and I died to one of these Cliffstormers. It's level 25. A level 19 Cliffstormer killed me while I frantically tried to reboot my computer.
While we're here, we also increase our lockpicking a bit on the battered footlockers scattered around the Venture Company area, managed to get a 5th boot knife, and a phenomenal addition to our repertoire of alchemy recipes.
Ooh, fantastic! Silverleaf? Are you kidding? After I just ignored a bunch of that.
We then hit level 26, kill a bunch of wyverns, and then decide to kill a rare just for fun.
Oh! Why did I kill this? I should... Oh, that's just taunting me. Oh, and it's even a longer cloak too that I can actually see. That's annoying. By the way, there's only one other person in this entire zone, and it's level 51, so it's not like I'm stealing that cloak from anyone that can actually use it. Oh my gosh, there's so many of these things. These are all level 24s. Oh my gosh, all this for a battered chest. Why are there so many in here? Can I open this without the maggroing? Looks like it. How many of you actually knew that this is a real place that you can go to? Like this whole section off area? Because I certainly didn't. Okay, we don't die from this. We do get down to 50. Ooh, look at that spirit-based regeneration. Spirit Rogue new meta? I'm just spamming jump right now to see how many flips I can get in a row. 3, 4. Aww.
Anyways, wait, how many times have I introduced a paragraph like that? Anyways, after we sell the agility cloak, we then make our way back to Eastern Kingdoms to head to wetlands. And on the way, make a quick stop in Ironforge to train for Cheap Shot, which is another fantastic stealth opener that gives 2 combo points instead of the typical 1, and fully stuns the target for 4 seconds. Now I'm pretty sure Garrote still wins out in terms of maximizing damage in most cases for us, but Cheap Shot is still a really solid option on certain lower level mobs that won't live long enough to take full advantage of Garrote's bleed. And it also allows me to generate 4 combo points before the enemy can even land a single hit. So even if it takes a few extra seconds to kill something when we use it, we usually end up finishing the fight with more health, which is nice when we're in situations where we need a safer option to engage with.
Hey, yo, check this out. First ooze gives me the bag. What? No way. I was just joking. Clearly, I sacrificed all of my luck with gear and just threw it all into quest drops. I could totally ninja this if I was a bad person. Okay, yeah. You always gotta just sit here and check because a surprising amount of people just completely ignore chests for some reason. Well, that reason being that chests suck, but, you know. Oh. Okay. We're swapping to crippling poison here.
Don't forget the root. Wonder if I can grab this without pulling.
Nope.
Okay, I'm willing to use one of my 5 boot knives just to test this. Okay, we pulled 3, and one of them is a caster. We're just gonna walk in. Okay, I did not mean to kick there. Oh, wait. Why is my swiftness potion? Swiftness potion is the same as a health potion. No. Okay, wait. We have to... Bandage. Okay. That was so stupid. Why did we do that? Why did I not just run after killing the first one? Okay, now we know. I did not know this was on the same cooldown as a health potion. Was it all worth it? Not in the slightest.
My little man.
Level 41, why do you want to duel me?
Oh my gosh. Wait, no. Hold on. Why did I accept this? I don't want to die. There's so many things that can kill me here. Ooh, that's nice. Oh. Oh. One blessing of might just feels like Dragon Slayer to me. We're gonna see if I can do something risky. There's someone in the grave! That will make this so much easier. See ya! That's awesome. Finally, we have a green weapon. Oh my gosh. I don't think he's aggressive until he reaches the road, but that is still terrifying.
Once we hit level 28, we then put our next point into improved sprint so that we can have an option to escape from nets and other movement impairing effects, train for rank 2 of sap, do some Stalvin shenanigans, remember that we actually have to level our poison skill in order to get the next rank, and then make our way back to Redridge to kill Belly Grub.
Okay, I think we're sufficiently buffed. That was easy.
We then spend the last of our gold unlocking the final rank of Herbalism,
And there goes all our money.
spend way too much time in this cave collecting rocks, take out Yowler,
Being a rogue is awesome.
and then make our way to the Renders camp to kill the Blackrock champions.
This is incredibly scary. We're gonna stealth behind. We are not doing Corporal Keishan. Ooh, I don't know about this quest, man.
Too far away.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this quest. We're not doing this quest. We're not going in that cave, dude.
And despite the amount of completely made up bravery points that we lost due to our cowardly retreat, the game still sought it fit to offer us with a new green chess piece.
I can't carry anymore.
Ooh. It's still spirit, but the 5 stamina is very nice.
We then use another boot knife in an attempt to pull Lieutenant Fangor away from some of the surrounding mobs, but in the end, they all pulled anyways, and we ended up just doing the same exact thing we did with Yowler, where we pop evasion, nuke him down, and then use Vanish to ignore the consequences of our actions before heading back to wetlands to kill some dinosaurs.
That's our first lockbox. Yo, let's open this up right now. That a classic, you know?
We then go back to Ashenvale, kill this Furbolg dude, get another consumable that'll just waste bag space since I'll just forget about it, and then head over to a different set of Furbolgs. But when I approached the first camp, my stealth button didn't stealth. You know what that means? Oh, we're totally fine. So after that, I went back to town to log off for about an hour until I knew my internet was stable again. But once we got back on, I then took out those Furbolgs, grabbed the book for expert cooking, killed some water elementals, and then tried to use my expert thieving skills to cheat my way out of a looting quest.
Can't pick the lock. That's lame. Now I actually have to do the quest. Oh, would you look at that?
We then catch up on our alchemy, which allows us to unlock the next rank of agility potions, which we can't actually make since we haven't been anywhere with Goldthorn yet, make a quick trip to the Northshire Abbey to turn in those rocks from Redridge I forgot about, and then once again head back to Duskwood for the usual questing and chesting, until we're once again interrupted by yet another disconnect. So I guess my internet wasn't that stable after all. We also get our second lockbox while killing ghouls, but this one was also rather unhelpful as it only ended up giving us some blacksmithing plans. Oh, by the way, you can totally just outrange the Wandering Plague from these ghouls, and you pretty much just do the same thing we did with the Furbolgs back in Darkshore. But after several more worthless chests, we then finally hit level 30, allowing us to unlock the Blade Flurry talent, which essentially allows us to copy all of our melee damage onto a second target for 15 seconds while also increasing our attack speed by 20% for the duration of the effect. In addition to that, level 30 also grants us access to Kidney Shot, a finishing move that allows us to fully stun our target for a few seconds, which is certainly helpful, but since it does use our combo points, its use will be a bit limited in most cases, which probably explains why I completely forgot to put it on my bar. Wonder how long that'll take for me to notice. We then take a detour to kill the Murlocs outside Menethil Harbor for the Morbid Fell questline, but then it's right back to Duskwood to finish up most of the major questlines here, or at least the parts we can actually do. So we then head to the Duskwood Ogre Camp for Abercrombie's Crate, kill some Worgen, have a close call with Stitches.
Oh my goodness! I look away for 2 seconds. Oh! Thank goodness I am a rogue and consequences don't exist.
Then visit everyone's favorite Wisconsinite, do that one buggy quest in Old Town where the mobs forget they're supposed to give up once you beat them, and then hit level 31.
Okay, I would love to do sword spec, and I do currently have a sword, and I will probably have it for a while. However, I can't guarantee that I'll keep it. And I don't want to keep respeccing every time we swap weapons. So I think I'm just going to avoid the whole weapon spec talents despite how good they are. Or at least the sword one anyways. And I think I'm just going to dump stuff into dual wield spec.
Then back in Menethil, we beat someone else up, kill some undead sailors.
I don't think these things can bleed, can they? Oh, they can. Oh, but these ones I can't bleed. What? Why?
DC a third time right next to the boat, collect some war banners from some orcs that love spamming nets, use another boot knife to help separate some mobs near the catapults.
Okay, we have one boot knife left now. If I can't end up killing all this, then that will just have been worthless. Well, what? He didn't pull? That totally looked like he did. Guess that's the benefit of over-leveling things. Yeah, we're probably not gonna do that quest, but we'll just hold on to it for 3 billion years.
Pop back over to Ashenvale to click on a book and some crystals, get another piece of agility gear that we can't use, grab the Ajara flight path, and then once again decide to test the limits of my quest drop luck.
Can I get this first try, like everything else? There's no way.
Shortly after, we hit level 32 before doing that one quest line with the Furbolg transformation, then head to the Barrens to finally kill that one summoner dude, and then take the boat to Booty Bay to grab all the quests we'll need once we eventually start the northern half of Stranglethorn Vale. But before we start that, we decide to do one last round of chest farming to prepare ourselves for the shimmering flats of Thousand Needles. We also venture back into the Worgen Cave to dig through some dirt, and then finally kill Stalvin, and then it was just chest after chest after chest of absolute garbage until we finally managed to loot a new upgrade to our belt, finally ending our longest streak of 52 useless chests in a row. We also managed to get a new pair of shoes not long after, and another new belt, and then finally end our farming session with yet another piece of agility gear from a regular mob that we have to sell. And if you're wondering why I keep bringing these up, it's mainly because I want you to share in the pain of knowing what could have been, and also because people keep telling me that regular drops should be allowed since I already allowed chests, and I kinda just think it's funny to keep making them mad. Anyways, with Duskwood behind us, that meant that it was finally time to head back to Ashenvale for our Light of a Loon, which is actually one of the most powerful items in the game, as it grants complete immunity to all damage for 10 seconds. However, it is only a one-time use.
I have died with this in my inventory before. I was a 32 druid on Bloodcell Buccaneers doing the Tower of Althalax quest, like the last part we actually go into the tower up in Darkshore, and I made the mistake of stealthing all the way to the top, and then I pulled way too much, and as I tried to run out of the tower, the mobs hit me through the floor, so I died, and I just forgot that I had Light of a Loon the whole time.
And so, after collecting our new panic button, we then make a quick stop in Darnassus to make a few more poisons, and then finally set out for Thousand Needles.
I didn't pick up the flight path in Ratchet.
Guess we're walking! Wait, couldn't you have taken the boat to Menethil, flown to Booty Bay, and then just taken the boat to Ratchet? Yep. Hey look, an elevator. And look, it's Thousand Needles. And guess what?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching and for all the recent support. I just wanted to give a quick channel update, but really quickly, here's that chest data I mentioned earlier with everything broken down by rank. I do realize that I kind of forgot to mention that some of the Duskwood chests I picked up were actually rank 6 chests, but I'll try and talk more about that in the next episode when I go over my whole chest route for the zone, because believe it or not, but we're not finished in Duskwood quite yet. But anyways, as you probably noticed, this video was finally the start of me using some more recent footage for this challenge. So that means we've officially gotten through all the oatmeal footage. But on the other hand, since I'm actively recording footage again, that means that the gaps between episodes are gonna have to be a bit longer. Now, because of how long ago I started this challenge, I'm sure some of you probably expected me to have a lot more footage stockpiled, but since this was my first attempt at any kind of challenge run, back then I had mainly just set my eyes on killing Van Cleef, and told myself that I'd come back to it once I released a video or two. Clearly, it took me a lot longer than I'd expected to do that, but either way, I'm back to thieving nonetheless, and I'm super excited to see what this challenge brings in the new year. On the topic of the new year though, there'll probably be a bit of an extra lull in terms of uploads for a bit, as I won't really have as much time to work on stuff for the next month or so as I do now. I'll definitely still have some time, but I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep, so the only thing I can say is just keep an eye out, and I promise I'm still working on stuff. But again, thank you so much for watching my weird WoW videos, and I hope you all have a great new year. See ya!